One of the oddest features of the British Iron Age is how many of the finest pieces of Celtic art and weaponry come from wet places. They come from rivers, bogs, lakes. And this is a constant pattern, not just found in Britain, but across the whole of Northern Europe at this time. These objects are extremely rare, and it's the equivalent, perhaps, of placing a Ferrari or a Rolls Royce in the water and just letting it rust.
The Witham Valley has its fair share of Iron Age Rolls Royces, and the most impressive find of all was made in 1826, near Fiskerton. The Witham Shield, now one of the treasures of the British Museum. This was never meant to be carried into battle. It's a work of art with delicate inlays of imported red coral and intricately raised decoration. The style can be recognised across Iron Age Europe, evidence of a vast network of contact and trade. At first glance, some of the offerings found at the Fiskerton Causeway may not appear as impressive, but these iron tools are remarkable in different ways. Metallurgist Vanessa Fell has discovered that the striking surfaces of some of the hammers were made of specially hardened steel. The earliest steel found in Britain, some 500 years before the Romans. She's invited ironworker Hector Cole to take a look.
Everything about this says that these belonged to people who knew exactly what they were doing with them.
Yes.
And they were choosing the best materials throughout for the whole job. It's this little one here, which is a beauty, isn't it? Look at it. It's so delicate, but it looks as though it's just made to do its job. And it's obvious from this end, this little domed end, that it was a doming hammer to make a little dimple into a piece of sheet metal so that you could raise it, like this centre here, I would think, wouldn't you?
The centre of this box.
Yes. And the same with this one. This is a beauty, isn't it? I have hammers like this in my workshop. Yes. Not quite in this condition, but look at the end of that one.
Back in his forge, Hector is going to replicate the hardening process used by Iron Age metalworkers. The steel is the same composition as the original, but the secret lies in the quenching, at exactly the right time and temperature.
When you heat the metal up, there's a chemical change takes place in the metal at certain temperatures. And at a particular temperature, the chemical change makes the metal hard. And what I did when I put it in the water was to actually freeze that chemical change so that the surface of the metal is hard. And they would have done exactly the same. They knew what they were doing. That's the exciting bit. And straight away you can tell just by the noise that that is a hard surface. All it's doing is just burnishing the surface and making it shiny. So we have a hammer with a hard face that will stand up to any sort of work that I subject it to. Just what that craftsman in that early Iron Age was looking for. He could work with this hammer.
So how did it end up in a bog? Many archaeologists, like Francis Pryor, have come to believe that these tools and weapons were not simply lost. They were deliberately left in these special places as offerings to the gods.
As we examined the precise circumstances of each weapon that we found, we realised that it was a very carefully constructed religious act. And this is how I think they did it. It was a very private ceremony. You didn't rush it. You try not to fall over. And you walk along the line of posts, and you come up to one side of the posts, And remember, what you're offering to the water was probably your grandfather's prized possession. It probably even carried his name. So when you offered it to the water and to the spirits of the ancestors, you did it with enormous reverence. So I want to get that feeling. I don't like doing this lightly. It's a very powerful thing to do. So there it lies. Now, that's a very small-scale action. The sword isn't being hurled into the water, and we've got plenty of evidence for that. We once found a dagger which had its blade placed in the water, and then its handle was actually lying on top of the blade. It was touching it. Now, that can only be done with that sort of action. You don't hurl a dagger and a handle and have them land in the same spot in the water.